Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. I'm Taquin, and today we're going to be talking about Halo Wars 2. My thoughts on the game, how it looks, how it plays, is it fun, just my general thoughts on the game. So you may or may not know, but 343 recently invited me out to a press/capture event thing to give me a bunch of time with the game and capture some early gameplay and stuff like that. So the gameplay you're seeing in the background is a 1v1 deathmatch versus Kenny from Ultimate Halo. I beat him pretty badly in this game, but we had a blitz game right before this where he just demolished me. He just completely demolished me, but that's okay because I hit his ass with a hot comeback in this game, which you'll see. Make sure to stick around to the end of this video because I make a pretty funny play to win this game, which you'll see at the end of this video. But anyway, today I just wanted to talk about my general thoughts on the game, if it's good, and just my positives and negatives surrounding Halo Wars 2. So to start off, I wanted to talk about some of the positives. First thing is graphics and art style. This game looks so good. I don't know if it's a personal preference, but something about this game just looks so nice. It has these really nice saturated colors, not oversaturated, saturated colors that are just so pleasing to look at. And units as well, they just look so nice. Unit design is awesome. It feels true to what Halo is supposed to look like, and that is something that we have been missing in Halo games for so many years now, at least in my opinion. I personally really dislike the Halo 4, Halo 5 art style. Absolutely detest it. That's just a personal preference, but this looks like a classic Halo game that's brought into 2017. So yeah, as far as how this game looks, it's awesome. It's got diverse environments, really nice colors, beautiful unit design. I can't say enough good things about how this game looks. It's phenomenal. As far as the gameplay is super fun. I've always been a massive fan of RTSs, and this just makes me love them even more. Whether you're like building bases or sending people to scout or launching like a full-on assault, everything just feels awesome. You know, it's super fun. I have a good time. I remember when the beta launched back in not the Blitz beta, the beta before the Blitz beta that launched. I want to say it was June of 2016. It was a long time ago. I was visiting my friend in California, and we downloaded the beta, and we just spent hours upon hours playing 2v2 and multiplayer and just having a blast. It is a ton of fun to play with friends, and that's like, it's just awesome. The gameplay as a whole is really satisfying and really fun. Another thing that's really great is that this game's got some awesome strategies. I prefer to play as the Banished because I just feel like their units are more interesting, fun, gritty, maybe a bit intimidating, not as organized, I guess. I'm not too familiar with the UNSC units. I've only played as Cutter just a few times, but that's because I mainly just prefer the Banished units. One of my favorite things to do is to get enough bases and up my population enough so, you know, I have a decent amount of population, and then basically spawn a crap ton of Banshees, maybe like 15 or 20 Banshees, and maybe like 10 Engineers. So the Engineers are constantly healing the units that are taking damage, and just using that cloud to just go around the map and just wreak havoc. It's awesome. It feels so great. Another aspect to the gameplay, I feel like the mechanics, they're very robust, and there's a good amount of depth to this game. The original Halo Wars, I've heard from a lot of people, is very basic, and definitely not as in-depth as this. You know, this isn't really as maybe complicated as, say, something like StarCraft, but it has some good depth to it, and I haven't even scratched the surface in terms of leader powers, which is one of the main aspects of this game that can like really affect a battle, and I haven't really even explored them that much. I barely use them. I think the only leader power I consistently use, at least in the time that I've had with this game playing Deathmatch, is the healing ability, which is actually really helpful. But yeah, gameplay as a whole feels really well thought out. Like I said before, it's very satisfying. I think my favorite mode in Halo Wars 2 is probably Deathmatch. It's just that classic RTS gameplay, you know, building up your bases. It's the long game, you know, strategizing what you're gonna do, either by yourself or with a friend. I prefer playing with a friend. It's much more fun in my opinion. Yeah, just taking time to set up your strategies and get ready for that, you know, full-on assault on the enemy team to try to make it or break it. So that's probably my favorite thing to do in this game. So I think that covers it for the positives. I got a chance to play a little bit of the second mission of the campaign, and that was pretty fun. It felt very in-depth. It felt unique. I didn't, obviously it's just the second mission. And I was just still trying to remember how to play, because the last time I had played Halo Wars 2 was the beta back in June. Again, I believe it's June, I think. So I was just trying to get used to the gameplay again when I was playing the campaign, so I didn't actually pay too much attention to what was going on, which was a big mistake on my part, but it's whatever. It felt good. So yep, I think that's it for the main positives. But there are definitely some negative aspects of this game, which I want to very clearly illustrate. The main thing that puts me off while I'm playing Halo Wars 2, and that frustrates me the most, is the laggy controls. These are much less prominent on console. I've been playing a lot of the Blitz beta, and I haven't really had a ton of experiences with lagging controls. It seemed pretty solid the entire time. But when I was at the event, I played on 2 different PCs because I had initially switched because the controls were just so unresponsive on one of my units. It was crazy. This was because of the performance of the PC I was using. They had multiple rigs there, and I tried both of them, and I guess both of them were not running well. But that's not to say the game doesn't run well on PC. I was watching some other people play, and it was running at like super smooth 60 FPS, 4K resolution, and yeah, it looked great. But I guess just the PCs that I was playing on just weren't doing that well for whatever reason. Another criticism I have is probably there's just not enough information on screen. I found myself going back to my different bases in Deathmatch a lot of the times because I didn't know what units were being produced when it was happening. Like, I feel like a little bar of at least your research, like researching higher population, different levels for your infantry, vehicles, and units in general. You know how you can research, vehicle level 2, vehicle level 3, infantry level 1, 2, 3, air units level 1, 2, 3. Like, I feel like there needs to be a bar or something that constantly tells you, how all those processes are, how far along they are, if that makes sense. So that would be super cool if we got that maybe in an update or something like that, just to have a little more information on, what processes are going on and how long they're taking. And something else pretty major that I experienced, I was doing this 2v2 at the event, and there was a pretty massive game-breaking bug. I just want to preface this. Creative Assembly knows about this bug, and I'm sure it's being dealt with. I think it was just a slight hiccup that we experienced, but like some of our units would get caught out of home base on like a bit of geometry or something, because about 30 population worth of my units was just kind of stuck at my home base, and I couldn't use them because they were just stuck there. So that's pretty major. But overall, I freaking love Halo Wars 2. A lot of the negatives I mentioned, there are issues that are probably going to be ironed out, and the full release won't have them. I've always loved a good RTS game, and Halo Wars 2 freaking, it satisfies that craving. Seriously. I cannot wait for it to launch and, hop into campaign and multiplayer and just have like a complete blast with my friends. It's been so long since I've consistently played an RTS title, and I'm planning this game to be just like my go-to fun game for now, because I honestly just have the most fun when I'm playing RTSs with friends. So it's just like, I'm just so hyped for it. Anyway, at the end here, you can kind of see that I do a little suicide grunt rush on Kenny. We were playing, and he kind of looked over. He's like, "You're just toying with me at this point, aren't you?" Because I was just like, I had this massive force. I could have taken out his base, but I pulled my units away and kind of sent them one by one, trying to get them taken out, get my population low. And oh my gosh. Okay, just real quick. Very sorry. This entire gameplay, I don't know why, I totally forgot that you needed a war council to upgrade your population. So I had a war council, but I never went into it. So I was playing this entire game with 80 population. So I'm sorry if that's like really painful to watch. Very, very sorry. I was still getting used to the game at this point. So that's my excuse. I'm very, very sorry about that. But yeah, I kept pulling my units away and sending them one by one to get them drained a little bit, and then basically maxed my population with suicide grunts, or at least tried to, and just sent them at Kenny, and it was hilarious. We were both laughing. It's a pretty funny end to this game. But anyway, those are my thoughts on Halo Wars 2. I really think it's a very solid game. I'm absolutely loving almost everything about it at this point. I'm gonna make another video talking about my thoughts on Blitz as a game mode. But I think that's all I have to talk about today. So thank you everybody so much for watching as always. Thank you very much to 343 for flying me out there to the event. I had a lot of fun. I really appreciate it. With that being said, I will see you next time.
You have acquitted yourself well this day.